Hello, welcome to another edition of the MMO Bookclub podcast. It is June 14th. Had to check the calendar because I am totally aware of my life and the situation that I'm in right now. It's 1:24 Pacific time. I don't know why I just gave you the time because we're all around the world here. My name's Nay. Welcome to the podcast. As always, I have two awesome dudes with me and the same awesome dudes as last time. Luckily for me, I didn't have to change anything on the graphic. I have Mr. Paragon. How are you doing today, sir?
Yes, very good, yes.
Very good, yes. And we have the mythical man himself, Mr. Vorgex. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Oh, hello there.
Hello there.
Am I on the right stream? Hold on.
I don't think you are.
I don't think I am.
No?
Edit that in post. Okay, so we're back. And it's the June cycle. We're going to talk about the game of the month. That is Secret World Legends, brought to you by your friends at Funcom. Everything they do is in your best interest or something. Technical difficulties.
It's for the greater good.
It's for the greater good. Everything Funcom does, that whole thing about abandoning their games and stuff, that's for the best. That's always good choices. But we're not going to talk about the negatives.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, not now, anyway. Let's keep it positive. We need some more positivity in this world. Secret World Legends. What do you guys think about this game?
Hey,
I like it.
Vorgex?
good.
Good? Yeah.
Podcast over.
Oh, yeah, podcast. All right, thank you guys for joining us. We got our thoughts in about this game, but no. Yeah, I agree. I think it's decent. We'll go into some more specifics on my thoughts about that in a moment here, but might as well get started. Let me throw it over to who is this on YouTube here? We got Mr. Gameolio Dan. Sure. Thank you, Dan.
Is it the same clip as last time?
No, this isn't like a review. This is just a
Gameplay?
this is just straight up gameplay. Let me
Oh, that last one was
there we
amazing.
go. That last one was good. It went places. I hope this guy throws in some random clips from other games and movies. That would be a nice change of pace here. And here, let me actually skip past the tutorial because we've all seen that a billion times. This actually might be the whole thing. All right, whatever. I'll just do it like that. Okay, so this game, we've talked about this game so many times on the nominations podcast. I feel like we don't need to really cover what this game is at this point, but real quick, just in case it happens to be your first time hearing or seeing the game, it is a action MMORPG. It was previously released as the Secret World, as a more standard hotkey based auto attack, etc., kind of thing. They rebranded it, re-released it with a different combat system, and it is now called Secret World Legends. It's been out for about a year, I'd say at this point, or so, give or take.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. It's free to play. It's worth a shot, I'd say, if you're into MMOs. It does something different with the genre as far as how it tells a story and the things it gives you to do in the game. The combat, I'd say, is probably still its weak point in a lot of ways. It's better than it was in some ways. It's not as deep and complex as the old system was, which is not necessarily a good thing, but I think like the actual feel of the combat might be better now, at least in my opinion.
It's debatable.
It's
There are some
debatable.
people who would disagree with you.
Yeah, that's just my opinion. There's nothing objective about that. It's just my thoughts. But I think objectively, I could say that the selling point of this game, the most interesting point, is its storyline, it's the environments, and it's the puzzles that it gives you to solve in the world, and how it brings you into the world with that stuff. I think that stuff is pretty fascinating. And we've had some stuff. Our achievements this month are trying to really evoke that and be centered around the idea of being in the world and kind of seeing what it has to offer as far as the story it presents to you. There is some clear some dungeon stuff in there, but two of the three achievements are about just going through the game and seeing what it has to offer. So yeah, right. I know Vorgex, you spent less time with it than Paragon and I did, but what did you think about the game on your initial thoughts of playing it?
I think it's pretty cool to have an MMO that moves outside of the standard boundary. This isn't a medieval knights and mages kind of deal.
Yeah.
It's more of a urban fantasy, modern mystery horror kind of thing. And that immediately is a good hook.
Yeah, it's something different. It's just not the fact that it's set in, basically modern times. I don't know if they give you an exact year, but it's pretty for all intents and purposes. It's set in the
They
modern day.
they basically said it that when the game eventually come out or originally came out, that was the date that they have in the game.
So
So
like
like
2012 or something.
2012 or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that makes sense. And yeah, like we're seeing in this footage here, if you're having to watch it on the stream, it takes place in the real world. This is New York that we're seeing, and it's definitely a nice change of pace from being in pure Fantasyland. There is some Fantasyland elements that you go to in the game. It's not 100%
Yeah, of
in
course,
the
it
real
does have
world, but
supernatural elements.
yeah, there's some supernatural stuff, and the main hub area of the game is a sort of otherworldly thing, but yeah, a lot
Yeah,
of the
that's
time
true.
you're in these like urban environments or suburban environments,
Sure.
and it's cool. It's a different feeling for sure.
Yeah,
And they do a really good job of making it feel like you're in these urban environments. You walk around and you feel like, oh, I'm in New York. I mean, not really like you're in New York,
Yeah,
but
an
in a
approximation.
video game, an approximation. It feels like the Division in that way, where you sort of feel like you're in the city it's claiming to be
Mhm.
in, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, and they have like a ton of buildings. Like we're seeing the laundromat here, and like every city has like a bunch of unique areas, even if there's no real gameplay purpose for or maybe there's a quest eventually that might take you there. But there's all these just little buildings you can go into, and if you want to get like a haircut, you gotta go find the barber shop in London. I'm pretty sure it was, and
Yeah.
things like that. Like it's immersive in that way. I think that's they did a good job crafting this world.
yeah, definitely.
Paragon, you,
And I think the combat / class style is interesting.
yeah, I agree with that too.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a second for sure, because that's another
Sure.
pretty interesting thing about this. I was just gonna ask Paragon, like, what did you think about the game so far? You've probably played it more than both of us combined, I'd say.
Right. So I think for the most part, I'm probably the furthest person, or the person in the Cabal, which is the guild, but in the book club, who's the furthest into the game right now. I'm about, I would say, a quarter of the way through the main story quest of the second major hub, which is Egypt. So I'm still working on it. I'm kind of taking a break right now, but I'm coming back to it. And that's another thing I want to talk about is the achievements, but we can talk about that later. If
Yeah. Well,
you
so
want
as
get
you
more stuff to talk about.
as you go through the game, do you think it maintains that sort of like interest level as far as like the world remains interesting? Does that continue to carry the game and keep it interesting in a way?
So the first zone, of course, is this dark and dreary sort of atmosphere set in Solomon Island, where you kind of have like this Cthulhu-esque vibe, and it kind of reminds you a lot of that stuff. But then when you get to Egypt, it's like a complete 360. I'm joking. Complete 180. And it's all bright. The sun's always out. They call it the scorching desert for a reason. And
Oh.
the vibe is definitely still there. It's still got this mystery sort of thing to it, where it definitely feels like you are trying to solve some sort of deep set mystery, and there's all these different characters. But the Cthulhu vibe is really gone, obviously, because it's a different zone, and the whole darkness thing has kind of thrown me off a bit, because I was really enjoying all the nights and stuff like that, nighttime and
sure.
stuff like that. And now it's just like always bright, and it's a bit jarring at first, but I don't know. I think it's gonna turn out to be pretty good. The story is interesting enough. The characters, these are some of the weirdest characters I've ever seen. Even coming from like the Cthulhu stuff, like these characters in the desert, they did a really good job of making these characters interesting in the setting that they're in. And I don't want to give too much away, but in fact, I'm going to give nothing away. It's just the characters are pretty interesting, and I can't wait till more people get to Egypt, because the story there actually holds up pretty well compared to the one before the introduction story. So
Okay, cool. That was going to be my next question. Was like, if you try your best to remove like the opinion of what zone is better as far as what you enjoy more, like if you try to look at it objectively, do you think that Egypt holds up to the first zone as far as like quality? Like,
oh yeah, I actually might argue that so far Egypt actually has a better story.
Okay, well,
than Solomon Island, because the Solomon Island story, I don't know if it's because I've done it so many times. I just feel like it's kind of cliche and a little flat at times, because I'm like this. Well, again, I won't give any spoilers, but the main villain just feels like I've seen him a million times before, and it just kind of felt like, all right, like. It's been a long time since I've completed it, and I completed it this cycle, and I was like, oh yeah, that's how it ends. Oh, that's kind of disappointing, sort of thing.
I see.
That's a bit of a spoiler. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. That's just your opinion on how it ends. You didn't say what happens, so I don't think that's a spoiler. But people probably think it's awesome. Right. Yeah, so don't worry about that. Yeah, that's good to hear. I haven't, I've spent a fair bit of time with the game, and it's pretty much all been in Solomon Island, so. I remember briefly visiting Egypt back in the Secret World, but I don't remember much about it at all. So,
Egypt is definitely a good change of pace, though. They did, as much as I don't like that you go into the bright areas in the sun and all that stuff like quickly. It's definitely good that it's there, because you're going into something completely different than Solomon Island, which is good to keep up pacing.
Yeah.
So you don't feel like you're always in the same thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to see another foggy Cthulhu town, I think.
Sounds like a nice change of pace.
Sure. That sounds good. All right, so I wanted to also mention another pretty interesting thing about the game, which I don't think we really talked much about in the nomination stuff, just because it was a more gameplay involved stuff, not just a brief overview of like here's what it's about, but where you touched on it for a bit. There was the weapons and the class system. Also pretty unique. It's all based on the kind of weapon that you take, but then you also can sort of spec it out to fill a certain role on top of that. So you're not just saying I want to be a tank. You say like, oh, I want to use shotgun and sword or something like that, and then you can have like the shotgun abilities you use be more geared towards getting the enemy's attention, or have the sword ability be more about blocking attacks or whatever the case may be. I'm not sure if that's really a thing with the sword in particular, but yeah, I think that's a cool twist on just selecting a class. I
think it's cool because you have the sword, you have the hammer, and then you have stuff like the shotgun and assault rifle. But you also get some of that magic with the chaos and the blood and the elementalism. Right. So there's it seems to be a huge a great variety of what you can pick.
Yeah, totally. And I feel like they play pretty differently too. Like using a shotgun feels much different than using pistols, for example. Like there's a different impact feeling, and just the way the abilities work, just completely like they complement each other, but they don't feel redundant, which is nice. Right. So cool. Yeah, I think that's another thing I want to touch on, just because that's another pretty interesting part and a unique part of this game. I think there's probably other games that do that stuff, but I couldn't tell you any. The weapon system being what drives class diversity and gameplay, I think it's a cool touch that they put into the game, and I think it fits the theme of the game pretty well too. Because you can be like a shotgun, assault rifle wielding dude, or you can be all magic based, and which sounds weird because it's like, oh, isn't it supposed to be this like kind of realistic thing? But no, it's like it's a fantasy game in a realistic setting, so the magic stuff doesn't really feel that out of place in a way that I kind of thought it might. So yeah, I thought that worked out pretty well. And then
I've tried a couple of different ones.
Yeah,
I did the elementalism and is it chaos as a mage archetype, and that was interesting. It felt more like playing a classic MMO because you have spells only and AoE, chain lightning, different things.
Yeah, definitely.
But this time around, I played shotgun and hammer.
Okay.
And boy, it's a different feel.
Yeah, the shotgun is way different than using an attack,
Yeah.
like a DPS focused thing. It's very slow, but like it feels
Yeah, and
very
you
impactful.
can. It feels more tanky as well because you have option for healing with a shotgun and options for healing with the hammer, in addition to just going full damage. And I like it.
Yeah, I do like the assault rifle healing. That's such a weird,
Oh,
like just the concept of that is so strange. I love it. Like it's
yeah.
so goofy.
One of the assault rifle archetypes is a priest, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that was just someone messing around at Funcom,
Yeah.
just like let's just have some fun
That's
with
awesome.
this. But it actually works. Like, and if it's fun to play, so I have no real complaints about it. It's just kind of goofy to think about, if anything. All right, cool. And then Paragon, you mentioned the achievements as well. I wanted to brush on those because that was sort of a point of contention with the Lotro cycle last month. And so Vorgax, saying you worked pretty closely with the envoys this month, and I stepped in at the end as well. But I know that all three of us were involved in sort of helping plan those achievements out. So I'm actually glad that you guys are here because we can talk about that for a minute.
I think the biggest issue was we could never agree on which achievement to do, and it just divulged into an argument that
That's the
took
issue every
hours
time.
and hours and hours and hours.
My job is just to push you guys to agree.
Yeah, that is always the tricky part about the achievements, and there's always a difference of opinion on like what a good achievement should be. Some people think that the achievements should be things that you have to basically like hardcore like grind for essentially, or something that should be very difficult and very exclusive to get. Some people think that it should just be like a token of participation, kind of like at least the easy, the normal achievement should probably be like that. That's some people's thoughts.
Yeah,
Like
the main issue every month is how hard should the hard achievement be?
yeah.
Approximately how much time should it take,
So
etc.
this month we ended up on 3 like every month, but we speaking of how hard and how long one should be, because Secret World is already a time consuming game, like everything takes a while. Like for instance, if you're going to do an investigation mission, it's going to take at least 30 45 minutes if you're just trying to learn it yourself
Sure.
to finish it.
Yeah.
That's just the nature of the game. The nature of the game is that things take a while, but it's not taking a while because you're grinding towards it. It's taking a while because there's a reason why it's taking a while. So with that in mind, we ended up on 3 that one of them doesn't take too long and the other 2 take a while. And even though the easy one still takes a while, it's still worth it, and it's still easy. So the easy achievement this cycle is to complete the Dawn of the Endless Night, or the main story quest for Solomon Island, New England, whatever the case may be. And that's it. That easily could take you 20 hours, or it could take you 15 hours. It will take you a while.
Yeah, you can't even skip everything because you get to hit points where there's like you need a certain level,
right,
or like you need to do this other quest first. Like it still puts stuff in your way that will still be time consuming for sure.
But it's not hard. It's you go from point A to point B, and it's real easy. It just takes a while. And then the hard achievement is the same thing. It's to do Black Sun, which is the main story quest in Egypt, and that one takes about the same amount of time. So easily, to get both achievements, you could easily spend 40 hours, 30 hours, maybe even 50 hours to get, if you wanted to do a little bit more than just what's required for them. But
so in theory, you could spend a week to get the easy and the hard.
Right.
But that's going to be a rare case, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think anyone's gotten the.
I don't think anyone's going to get the hard one.
Yeah.
I'm working on the hard one, and I really want to get it this cycle, but I don't know if I will. The hard may have been just a little bit out of reach for a lot of people.
Yeah, but that's fine. It's not supposed to be easy.
Yeah, and then the guild one is actually, I did it the other day. Assuming you can get 3 or 4 people, three people. I'm sorry. So you and 2 other people, you can bust them all out real quick. I did them all in about a half an hour. Assuming that you have someone in your group that can probably do a good chunk of the damage. If everyone's around level 20, 25, you could do all three without any problem.
Okay. Yeah.
That's good.
They're very easy, and it doesn't take long at all.
Yeah, the hard part quickly became finding people to do them with, I think. That was sort of the real challenge of it. So that's always going to be the case, with most games as time goes on. It's going to get harder to find book club members to do stuff with, but there's still a handful of people playing, so still got time.
Yeah, I mean, that one is the only one that doesn't take a lot of time. The difficult part is finding people to go with.
And that was another point of contention about the guild achievement, is like the balance of how much of this should be just about it being social, how much of this should be about it being a challenging thing for a group to overcome. And we sort of just, I don't want to say settled, but we decided on that just that being the achievement, because it still encourages people to socialize and group with each other. And that's not always going to be the easiest thing, whether that's because some people just aren't used to playing with other people, or in this case, because there's only a handful of people who are still playing the game, so finding that might be a challenging thing too. But
I think these look okay. It's the same as every month. We work together with the envoys to try to squeeze out free achievements that we all can be content with.
Yeah, and I'm pretty happy with them too. I think they show a good part of the game. Like, I think seeing those three dungeons and seeing the two zones.
So we got to make some good ones.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, our envoys had some good stuff to say this month, so thank you to them.
The other thing I wanted to mention, I didn't mention what the 3 dungeons were for the achievement. So the 3 dungeons for the achievement are the Polaris. I believe the second one was called Hell.
What is that one called?
Raised? Hell Raised.
Yeah.
And then the third one, I don't know what it's called, but it's the Wabanaki one, and they're all in a different zone. So, Blue Mountain is the Wabanaki one. Savage Coast is the
Hell one.
The Hell Raised, and then Kingsmith Town has the Polaris in it.
Yeah.
And you can all access these, assuming that you've unlocked them, and you unlock them by just walking by them on the map.
Right.
You can all access them in your dungeon finder menu. So
cool.
if you're in a group with the other book club members, you can just go ahead and join it. You don't have to queue up for it. You just hit a private group, and you don't have to actually go to the actual dungeon entrance. It teleports you there automatically. So that's always nice too.
That helps.
Yeah,
makes it super easy because of that. So
I'm glad they had that built in. That's always a good feature. All right, cool.
I would almost say that the guild achievement is the very easy achievement, assuming you can get the people to go with you.
Yeah, and gameplay wise, it takes the least amount of time, like he said, and the dungeons aren't particularly challenging. It's just having a better damage dealer can definitely help speed things up. But
right.
The mechanics are all pretty straightforward, so yeah. But it's cool. I think I like encouraging group play. I think that's always fun to do. So yeah, cool. Right. I think you guys did a good job with them this month. I think I haven't really seen. I saw some people, with some skepticism, like, oh, the heart is just doing the main story. That's kind of boring, but like, no one's doing it, so maybe it's not that easy to do. I don't know, like whether that's just because people aren't maintaining interest in the game or just because it takes a long time. I'm not really sure, but I think the achievements are definitely more exclusive this month, from all the reasons combined, which is what people seem to not like so much about the last month's selection. So I think we nailed that part at least.
Right.
All right, cool. I think that's that about covers the game. Unless there's anything else you guys wanted to bring up real quick.
Not about the game, but I do want to show for something. We can do it at the end.
That was our next section. Was just starting the early chats of like what you guys kind of hope for next month. Do you want to see more Secret World, or is there a specific game you want to try to get nominated up there, or what are your guys' hopes and dreams right now?
Well, I don't have anything I want to nominate just yet. I haven't decided. But
you want to shill for something, so you clearly have something in your brain.
I'll wait till after this part. So, is there anything you want to go for?
No, I think this is
I mean, he's a mod. He's you know.
My hopes are crushed. My dreams are shattered.
Oh no! It finally
And
happened.
I guess normal RuneScape could be fun.
Sure. Yeah.
Also because then my
But
wife
yeah,
will
by
join.
normal you mean like the modern, like not the
normal RuneScape,
Sure.
not very
old
old
school
RuneScape.
Yeah, I'd be into that. I'd play that.
Sure.
I think we're gonna see the return of the throwback game vote this month. So we'll pick a game to nominate that has been a past cycle, and I think we're still on just the we're still on the original games, and I guess arcades would be an option now. I'm not voting for that though. So it'll be ESO, Terra, WildStar, and Guild Wars 2. I guess are our choices there. So one of those will be, assuming no one votes or no one nominates those. One of those will be the mod returning game vote.
Are we opening up the ability for book Wyverns to nominate older games?
They have been.
No.
Oh, but they can't? I thought they could.
No, they can't.
Oh, okay.
They never could.
I thought that once they had been 6 months, they could nominate them now.
No, that's our job.
Okay, so one of those games will be nominated this month.
Okay.
Yes.
I'd
No
be
one else can
fine.
nominate.
I'd be fine with ESO or WildStar. I don't really want to play Terra Guild Wars. That's just
I
me.
could play anything.
I mean, I would play. I would check Terra out. I think I'd pass on Guild Wars. I just tried to go back to it a couple weeks ago, and I was like, "Oh, I'm not ready for this game yet," and I just quickly got rid of it. Like,
I've tried Terra so many times, but I never get into it.
yeah, I've tried
I
it a
just
few
want
times.
to try one more time.
I
with you
tried it.
guys.
I played it at launch, and I was playing it for a fair bit there. I got kind of annoyed with it, but which was more on I think the class that I picked. Like I had to play in like full tryhard mode the whole time, which got old fast. Like I had to treat every trash mob like a boss fight, which got really annoying. But I think
I just remember
things
I
got
had
better.
I had to be the pedophile bait
of
class.
Oh, right.
Race for my class because I wanted the class.
Oh, sure, yeah.
That may be the reason why I didn't get into it.
That's why I
hate those
kept
classes.
playing it. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I have a feeling that Terra wouldn't get I don't think that,
Yeah,
I'm
well,
not going to
see,
speak on Pass Out and Framber's
which,
behalf, but I don't think they're
return
going to
we'll
vote for it. It'll probably be ESO or WildStar if I had to guess.
We may be allowed to include another mod pick as well if there aren't a lot of nominations.
Yeah, we'll see how many nominations actually come in because we didn't get too many winners.
Maybe
this
we're
month.
allowed.
Maybe
We'll see.
I mean, we can do whatever we want technically, but we have to be reasonable.
Right.
So,
don't abuse your powers.
Yeah, don't want to abuse the powers that much. Gotta keep it in check here. Paragon, what game did you have in mind that you wanted to start pushing for?
Yeah, some major shilling incoming, I
Yeah,
guess.
it's a big build up here. I need to know.
Yeah,
No.
come on.
The shilling is for something else, but it's not for a game that I want to nominate because I don't have a game in mind yet.
Okay.
But the shilling is for something else. Okay, I can do it now.
Begin shilling.
Okay.
Bring it
So I do these events on Friday mornings at 2 a.m. Saturday mornings, 2 a.m. And no one comes, which is fine. That's not why I'm shilling. What I'm shilling
That was a terrible
is,
shill if that was what you were shilling.
so this week there won't be one.
Okay.
I won't be able to do one this week. However, the next week, so see, that will be June
23rd.
30th.
Wait, no. This week is the 16th.
23rd.
Yeah.
23rd. So June 30th, I'm going to be doing a special edition of my event that I'm going to stream, and I'm going to have a video recorded of it. It's going to be, since we're doing Secret World Legends for the event for the game this month, I'm going to do Funcom's original game, Anarchy Online, and it's going to be a very quick, not very quick, but a video about how to get yourself into Anarchy Online.
Cool. On the 30th or the 23rd?
23rd.
Okay.
So it'll just be I'll be streaming it, and then I'll make a YouTube video later. It'll probably be about the first. I don't think I'll do the entire zone. starting zone, but I'll do a good majority of it, just going through the basic how to play, the basic systems, and
Yeah.
the game seems very daunting, which is why I don't think a lot of people get into it these days. So hopefully with this video that I'll make, people will be able to have more interest in it, and maybe in the future I'll nominate it for a book club game and it'll actually win. But that's wishful thinking.
Yeah, it'd be a hard sell. It's an old game that people are gonna be skeptical about, but I'm fully in on checking it out. You know, I love that game, so
yeah. So that'll be just that my event for that week. So this week, no event because I don't feel like doing it, and two, I don't feel like doing it. So
all right, both good reasons. Okay.
Hopefully people either watch the video, come to the stream, or maybe even play along with me. We'll see.
Cool.
Well,
that will be posted for announcements. We'll do that sometime during the week leading up to it, and the bot will have that stuff plugged in. Yep. So yeah, we'll get that sorted out, and I'll definitely be there. So cool, man. Thanks for bringing that up. Well, looking forward to that, and always excited to check that game out. And hopefully it's not dead by then, because Funcom's doing a great job of killing it quickly at this point. So
yeah, we'll see.
Anyway, I don't want to get into that. All right, so yeah, I guess that about covers it. Next podcast we do will be, let's see, I don't have an exact date, but it will be sometime
tomorrow.
Yeah, well, yes, there will be one tomorrow, but not for the book club podcast. That'll be a special thing, but
in about 2 weeks for the vote.
Probably, week. I'm gonna say maybe like the 25th or the 26th, that Monday or Tuesday.
Okay, cool.
Probably around then we'll have the nominations. We'll do it before the runoff this time, so we can talk about all the games. Yeah, because it's just always fun to go through all the games, and we get a pretty good idea of what has a good chance just by kind of looking at them, I feel like, as a group. And yeah, that'll be fun. So I'm looking forward to that. And like I mentioned briefly there, we got something going on tomorrow around this time, about 1 p.m. Pacific. It's 2 now, but 23 hours from now or so. We'll have a thing going on. There'll be some details about that in the announcements, so keep an eye on that. And yeah, I guess that's about it. If you guys have anything else, speak up, I guess.
No, so... Oh.
All right. Rory, anything else you want to chip in?
No, I'll hold my peace. Thanks.
All right, sounds good. Well, thank you guys for joining me, as always, and great to hear from you. Kind of a short but sweet one today, so I'm glad we got to talk about this stuff, and thank you guys all for joining us and listening, and we'll see you next time here on the MMO Book Club podcast. Take care.